Construction falls under the public bid law. I don't believe these programs apply to construction, do they?
Yes, it's for a construction company. And so if
how can you do that? The public bid law says you have to take the lowest responsible bid. You'd be violating the public bid law if you did that.
What's that? They've done that.
Okay, so my colleague from the Office of State Procurement just explained to me that we have labor and material items that are allowed to be bid for construction companies. So it's very limited, but it is...
Unit? So it's a unit bid is what he's talking about? Because there's also specific language in the law that I put in a couple of years ago that says you cannot use this for design, build, or construction manager at risk.
Yes, sir. Senator Jonathan Walker, Division Administration, Office of State Procurement. It does not expand the permissible uses of construction methods or construction.
What is a permissible use in construction?
Currently, you're right. Title 38, relative to public works, is going to regulate large-scale construction, what we think of as construction. The agencies do have small authority on the order of $50,000 to engage if they're replacing a shed, if they're repaving a parking lot, activities like that. They can do small-scale work that's accomplished by construction companies. We wouldn't use the term construction to describe that activity. Maybe it's a major repair, maybe it's a labor and materials project. The statute for Hudson and Vets allow those companies to be given the consideration up to $10 million based on value, even though the projects that we expect them to work on are not going to be worth that much. They're going to be a $10 million company working on a $50,000 project.
That doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, if you never mind. The total points are 100 points?
It varies.
It's prorated by percentage. So say you have a 200-point RFP, 20 points under current law are going to be reserved for Hudson and veterans.
So it's 12%, or we're dealing with?
Yes, that's correct. It's
12% of the points or 10% of the points?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Under current law, it's 10%. It's going to 12%.
Do they add? In other words, can someone qualify under Hudson and the veterans?
No, it's one or the other. Okay. It's not cumulative.
How many times has 12%, 10% made the difference? How many times in a procurement has 10%?
It's relatively rare.
It's relatively rare.
Typically, these types of vendors that qualify under the programs are typically smaller businesses. The RFP process is typically used for larger contracts. I would estimate, I don't have the data in front of me, I would estimate that we're looking at 10 to 20 times a year where procurement is, the award recommendation is shaped by the usage of these points.
Because a $6 million company is not a small business, nor is a $5 million company. That's a relatively large business by most measures. I mean, in Louisiana especially.
Yeah, and the Hudson was established in 2005, and these were the thresholds provided: the $5 million and for non-construction, $10 million a threshold for construction. Veterans was established in 2009, and those numbers they originally were 3 and 5 million, but then they were bumped up to 5 and 10. And I can't say that I disagree with you on what should be considered a small and emerging business, but those are the thresholds that we have had set for a number of years under the program. And we do see, just to share with you, we looked at the data for the Hudson Initiative. On average, the construction companies, their gross revenue threshold is at $700,000 for the current participants in the Veterans Program. For non-construction companies, that same number is about $380,000.
You mean the average?
The average. We looked back at the last 3 years as far as the average gross revenue.
Why are we bumping up the number then if the average is that low? I mean, I can see some merit in small companies. These are not small companies. I mean, when you're talking about $6 million a year, that's probably 50, 60 employees, I'm guessing, for a company.
Well,
so
it's 50.
Why are we bumping it up?
Criteria is 50 or fewer employees. To
All
me.
right, well, I was close.
And I'm taking,
50.
and once again, I'm not creating these programs. I'm taking the existing program that is here. The gross amount has not been raised since 2012. So so to try to give the veterans some benefit, we're trying to give them. That's why we were raising to 6
Well,
instead of 5.
I have a personal problem. I don't like these kind of things.
Yeah.
I think it's wrong. It flies in the face of what we should be trying to do in Louisiana and encouraging all businesses to grow and prosper. So, I mean, by doing this, we're just opening it up for $6 million a year businesses to get a 10%, or 12% advantage over every other business that may not be.
Well, once again, it's a program that's already there for veterans.
I understand, but I don't have to like it.
And you would have to you would have to be a veteran. And when we had our military affairs committee the other day, I thought it was very interesting. Nationwide, only 1% of our citizens are veterans. In the state of Louisiana, it's about 6%. So you're not talking about large number of businesses.
I get it, and I have nothing. I think we should honor our veterans and do what's good for them. But I have a personal problem with any kind of programs, of this Hudson program and the other, because basically now you're saying that a fairly large company is going to have a 12% advantage over every other fairly large company of its size in the state of Louisiana, just because somebody was a veteran. May never have seen combat, may have been. I have a brother-in-law who defended us in the first Gulf War from London. He's a veteran.
Sure.
He didn't do anything. He sat his office in there and did whatever he did in London.
I appreciate your position, Senator. Once again, I didn't create the.
Huh?
You must have scared them all.
He did. He scared Iraqis away from London.
London was safe.
Yeah.
And Senator Appel,